Hello everyone, welcome to Fun Online Teaching and Learning YouTube channel. We are continuing with the soft skills series and we are in session 3 where we're talking about technical communications, which presenting your PowerPoint slides. Okay, what you should be careful about doing, and this is the second part, so if you didn't watch part 1, please watch it for valuable information. So just a recap of what we discussed in the previous lectures and videos. So I recommend you to think about your presentation from a systems perspective, study your audience, your content, and your building, your mechanics, your physics, okay, because the success lies in between. Also think about your presentation. It is not really starting when you start talking and when you finish talking. You got tasks to do pre and post your presentation, okay, and later on you have some things to do as well. This later on can be a few weeks or a few months later, and we discussed this in detail in the previous videos. So let's talk about how to present your slides. Okay, so this lecture and this video will only be focusing on presentation skills, not actually creating the slides, but how to present them. If a pretty good idea. So dress for success. Dressing for the event, for the occasion is really important, right? Think about a doctor. When you see a doctor with his doctor suit and doctor dress with a stethoscope on his neck, then you feel and you think that he's more professional, he's a doctor, right? So dress for success, for your interviews, for your job fairs, for your on-site visits, and smile and always be positive, right? Your presentation should start with a big smile. You gotta be positive, and then you gotta say hi, and your dress should be professional. I don't want to say dress like this and that. It really depends on the occasion, but it should show that you were careful choosing your dress. Okay, draw your attention, draw the audience attention in the beginning, so start strong. What usually people remember what you said in the beginning and what was said in the last minute. Okay, think about you're in a shower, right? 9 minutes it was going good, and last 1 minute the water got cold, right? What do you tell people about your shower? You say, oh, you know what, the water was cold, right? But 9 minutes it was good. Usually that's what we remember, the last words, the last slides. That's why I recommended in the previous videos about making us a very good like takeaway slide at the end, right? People will remember that. I also want you to announce when to take questions. So there is a couple of things that you can do. For example, if this is a really important presentation that you're doing, like a on-site visit, a presentation, a lecture, a briefing, anything important, and you have like 60 minutes, right? In the beginning of your presentation, inform your audience, because they are valuable, they are there to listen to you. So tell them you can get the questions last 15 minutes, right? That's a way you can do. That's a way you can go. That's a route to take. So you can tell your audience, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take the questions last 15 minutes. That's one. Second method you can do. You can tell in the beginning to audience, I'm gonna take questions anytime. Please feel free to ask me questions anytime. This is second. And a third method can be, you can say, during my presentation, after a few slides in the natural breaks, I'm gonna ask if anyone has any questions, right? So you kind of group your questions, timing, and then let's say you have 3-4 natural breaks during your presentation to take the question. It's really very important and professional to tell this the audience in the beginning, because they know when to ask question. And there's ups and downs which method to use, but I recommend choosing one of the three. For example, why do you take questions through the end? Well, probably you have like 30 slides and when they were listening to the second, third slide, they will ask a question that is already in, let's say, in the 15th slide, right? You don't want to distract yourself and audience with a question that has already been answered like naturally in a few minutes later, right? So that's one thing you don't want to do. Always give structure, keep simple, and keep engaged, right? Always have something to engage the audience. This can be an activity, some questions, or talking about how they do this in their company, some personal experiences, and keep it simple. You should have a key message and you should keep it simple. Okay, always give a structure. When I mean about structure is, I want to say make a title slide, make an introduction slide, and then body, and then conclusion, summary, key takeaways, and references. Okay, that's a structure that you want to follow in your presentations. Promise learning outcomes, which means in the beginning of your presentation, talk to audience and promise them what is in this for them, right? What is in this for them? Your audience will not be always motivated. Let's say, there's a conference somewhere, and then the company just sends someone, maybe even not expert, not interested in that topic, but they just want someone to be there, right? Then you have to motivate that audience, that person in your presentation, okay? Because if you see an audience that's texting or looking in the making emails in the laptop, right, then you also get really your motivation goes down, right? So you gotta keep them engaged, and you gotta somehow tell them that they will be using this information, or this information may be helpful for them. What else? One important thing about doing presentations is don't move sideways a lot, front and back too much. I see a lot of presenters, moving sideways, front and back too much, maybe going into the in front of the classroom or conference room, meeting room to back and sideways. So what happens is this really distracts the audience. So you gotta be moving, but not too much, right? It should be in harmony. Your movement, body movements, and your story should kind of be in a cohort. Okay, they should be synchronized and orchestrated. Okay, they should be meaningful. If think about, if somebody recorded you, right, and I recommend recording your presentation yourself, and then watch yourself later to see how much you are moving. If you ask people, they would even not realize they are moving that much. Here a question really important. What do you do with hands? Please comment below your thinking about what to do with your hands during your presentation. Okay? Take a few seconds to think about what are you doing with your hands. Well, first of all, never ever put your hands in your pocket, okay? That's very rude to audience. No matter, if even though you are their boss, whatever is your hierarchy and level, authority level to audience, it's very rude. So what is my recommendation? What worked for me? Well, actually what worked for me is I usually hold on to a pen, pencil, or nowadays we have presenters, right? Always have a presenter in your hand, or like a laser pointer or a pencil or a pen. Then when you feel it, you really are aware of your hands more. And when you carry something, you are inclined to less put it in your pocket, right? And this thing you're holding in your hand, like a laser pointer, presenter, pen, pencil, these things prevents you moving your hands and arms a lot. So this will not distract your audience, and they will focus on your message and topic more rather than your movements. I recommend you supporting your presentations with some props, some printouts. Props, if you can bring some materials, some product prototype, maybe a guest speaker, maybe an expert for 5 minutes, something like that. Bring props, okay? And always bring some printouts. It's always good to print out your, if you don't have a business card to give people, then you may have a printout of your title slide with your email and phone number, maybe some links, and then you want to print them out before your presentation actually starts. Or if you're doing an activity, you want to print them before, and then you want to pass it over before or during your presentation. It depends on what you want to achieve. But if you want to pass it over, pass it out, pass it around before during the presentation, then make sure that everybody gets it in the room, because sometimes you may have 100 audience, 100 people in your audience. Then wait everybody to take all the printouts, because if you start before people taking it, then you may lose them. Be careful swinging. I recommended you to bring some props, but don't throw props to people, right? Be careful not to drop it and break it, right? So be careful with those things. If you are requesting one of the audience to come help you, then be careful with their safety. Okay, these things looks simple, but they are not really simple. Give time for all the audience to receive your printouts. I already mentioned that. So let's watch a quick video about how to present, how to not present actually. So, and remember, the success lies in audience, content, and physics. Okay, while you're watching, take notes and make comments. What is terrific here? What is terrible here? If you can find something terrific, let me know. I'm just gonna show you a few minutes, okay, because of copyright issues. So I'm gonna put this link down below in the description, so you can see it later and use it in your presentations, if you will.
For example, I'm now coming to the end of my session on the body. So I need to say something to link this session with the next. So I will say, well, I think that cover most of the points about organizing the body. So I'd like to move on to look at how you can introduce your presentation.
What about the other team member?
Okay, we've looked at how to plan presentation. Right. And we've seen that deciding on the presentation's purpose is important. That we also should consider our audience and their needs, and the context or setting of the talk. And finally, I look briefly at the organization.
Okay, let's see what the other team member does now. Okay, so he puts a lot of
I'm going to focus on how you should deliver your presentation. And
I think you got the point.
First, I will first come with the introduction.
We can stop here, and you can watch the full clip later in the below descriptions. So let's continue with some other examples and tips. So always have an agenda. That's what I recommended when I say you have to have a structure. In the beginning, always have an agenda and tell people what to expect. Okay, what topics are you gonna cover? And you will see some of the people will leave the room. Maybe they are in this wrong room, right? Maybe they are not interested. That's all good, because you want an audience that's motivated and that's interested in what you're gonna present them. You are there for them. Okay, so give them a background and a definition first. All right, so I told you to work about your audience, right? Study your audience and identify who are they, what are their background. 100% I'm pretty sure that they will have different backgrounds. Some of them will be engineers, some of them business persons, some of them technicians, some of them some other background. Some of them may be 20 years old, some of them may be 25, 40. Okay, so you want everybody to be in the same sheet of music. Okay, so give a definition, give a background, give a little history, and tell them what they should understand from the basic definitions, basic phrases. Okay, so everybody understands the same thing. Don't lose control. Well, when I say this, I mean don't lose control of yourself and the audience. How can you lose control of yourself? Well, first of all, if you are tired and if this presentation is like 40 minutes, 60 minutes, then you'll be tired too. Don't lose control of yourself. Okay? You have to be patient and always be in control of your presentations. How can you lose the audience? Well, if you don't involve them, if you don't make any activities, if you don't ask any questions, if you don't keep an eye contact with them, if you don't motivate them, or if you put a lot of sentence on your slides and they are tired of reading them, you lose them. Okay, they will not be interested. They'll be there physically present, but just to make a check mark in your attendance sheet. Their mind and interest and motivation will not be there. So don't lose control. Okay, well, one important thing is to repeat key messages. I want you to repeat the key messages at least 3 times in your introduction, in your body, and in your conclusion. Okay, that's how you should do. In the introduction, tell me what you're gonna say in the body. In the body section, tell me what you wanna tell me. Tell it to me, right? And in the conclusion, tell me what you just told me in the body. So this way, the key message will be delivered and it will be repeated and it will be conveyed to the audience. Well, include a story and a humor, right? So I tell you to motivate them, to get them involved. How can you do that? Some of the presenters really can create their own story. They can tell examples about their company, professional life, family life, friends. Some of them may be very good at humor. For example, I would like to recommend you to be very mindful and careful about those 2 things. Well, first of all, you don't want to disclose your personal life or your company secrets, right? About the humor though, because you 100% you'll have a diverse background, so some jokes will be very funny in some cultures but insulting in some other cultures. There may be sensitive issues, country issues, historical issues, conflicts. So while you're doing humors, it already depends from person to person how they feel about it, how they get the message, even though everything is the same, right? Even in a family, humor flavor is different. So be very careful about if you're planning to do humor. If you don't plan it, please don't do humor. Okay, don't make any jokes. If you plan nicely, synchronized, it'll gonna suit well, then you can plan it. Never ever do it without planning. Okay, and always study your audience. Make them feel comfortable and make them feel they're learning. So if you start a little bit low level, then to make everybody in the same sheet of music, right? Then get a little bit harder, a little bit tougher, and then the content will be a little more difficult through the end. So they will feel involved, and with the activities, with the learning experience, they'll feel happy, and they will feel they are learning. So they will think that their time, their valuable time, is really valued, and they are learning something, right? Avoid jargon. If this is especially true if your audience is like kids, they are not in that business, right? They are not that expert on that topic. Avoid jargon because you're gonna lose your audience. Well, let's say you're a medical doctor, right? And you're in a conference and all your audience is medical doctor. Well, in this case, maybe you can use a few, right? But possibly you don't want to use this to an unknown audience, right? You don't know who are they, what are their education, so jargon will make everybody get bored, they will not understand, and they will lose you, they will start texting. Okay, plan your breaks and travel time. Well, make sure you find the building first of all, right? And also, if you are the organizer, make sure the breaks are synchronized. Let's say the restroom is, you don't have a restroom in that building, maybe next building. It takes 10 minutes to go and then come back 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? And there will be a line, probably queue in the restroom. So if you just give 5 minutes breaks, it's not gonna be enough. So what you want to do is plan this, especially if you are the organizer, right? If you are like 30-minute presentation in somebody else is organizing the whole day, then it's not a big problem. But if you are the organizer, you got to think about lunch, coffee, the breaks and everything. Okay, so think about your breaks and how to do it. Voice control is very important. For example, if I just do this and read the presentation skills for plan your breaks and travel time, voice control, eye contact, take a few photos, follow up with questions unanswered, send a thank you note to organizer, share, advertise, and market. Was that helpful? No. How about that one? Plan your breaks and travel time. Voice control is very important. You want to increase your voice sometimes, and sometimes you want to talk really slowly, and everybody will be very careful about listening to you. And if they are texting, they're gonna look up and see why there is silence, right? So sometimes you want to increase your voice, and sometimes you want to decrease your voice. So this is very important. Eye contact. Always have eye contact with the audience, right? Some of us may be shy doing that. Some of us can't look at the audience eyes. Then try it. You may train and educate yourself on that one. So eye contact is really important, because then people feel your presentation is addressed to that person, delivered to that person personally, okay, individually. So this is really important to keep a communication channel between you and each receiver. Take a few photos. Well, why is this maybe important? Think about it and comment below. Well, it may be important. First of all, you're documenting it. You presented something, right? First of all, that one. You may want to show off your skills or attendance to your colleagues, your friends on social media. You may want to post them, maybe. Or maybe you document it in your project management or presentation folder, and next year, 2 years later, if your company is doing the same thing, then okay, who did that? Or if your company is gonna organize it 2 years later, maybe you will be left, so somebody else will take over the project. Then what they may do is look at the picture and organize the event accordingly, right? How was the room organized, right? Were there coffee? How was the tables? Did they use post-it and which screen, right? How many audience, so we can present. So all these things are really important to take a few photos, and actually maybe a 1-minute video of the venue, right? And some important logs. Follow up with questions unanswered. Okay, if you watch the previous video, you will see at the end they get a question, right? And they can't really answer it, and then they just say, whatever you feel through correct, just answer like that. What I recommend, however, is if you get a question, let's say you got a question, right? And then you don't know the answer. And there may be many reasons why you don't know the answer. Maybe it's not your department, it's not your expertise. Maybe you just don't know it, right? Maybe somebody else will know it. What should be your answer? Please comment below and share with the audience. Yeah, my recommendation is a few things, right? It doesn't matter if it's not your department, if you really don't know the topic. What you need to do is you tell them, this is a very good question, thank you for asking. I just happen to have no response for that at this time. At this time, I don't have any information that I can give you. However, I'm gonna follow that up with you, and I want to get your contact information, and I'm gonna definitely follow up this question with you. That's a very professional response, and maybe even you can share the result of your research about that question with the whole audience, maybe, right? Or if you prefer, you can just share with whoever asked the question, right? But it looks really professional, so you cannot just answer the best of your ability. You cannot just say something arbitrarily. You cannot just just gloss over. You cannot do any of these things. So you want a professional, right? You're professional, so you want to say, I don't know. not knowing is not something you should be shy of, or you should be ashamed of. What you need to do, I'm gonna make a research on that. I'm gonna come back to you with the answer. Okay. Send a thank you note to organizer. This is very easy nowadays, right? You can just send an email, a postcard, a card. I don't know what else, right? You can send a thank you note to the organizers. This is very important. For example, you went an on-site interview, right? Probably, and the secretary purchased your flight tickets and then arrange your hotel. You have maybe a functional manager, maybe a CEO. You may have seen like 5-6 people on that on-site visit. They're probably your coordinator. So make sure you send them a thank you note, but it should be personalized. You cannot send a thank you note to secretary the same to CEO, or you cannot send a organizer a thank you letter, a thank you note, same with secretary. So you should tailor them a little bit, and to the effort, and then to the level, to the authority in the organization, and how much they invested their time to you. Okay, that's something really professional as well. Well, I want to add also, when you create your presentation skills, please share it. If somebody's recording your video, please share it, advertise it, and market yourself. Don't expect that. Don't wait anybody else to market you. Okay? If you did something that you're proud of, share it, advertise it. How can you do that? Tell your friends. Share on LinkedIn, share on Twitter, right? More professional venues. Share on social media. Share it with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. So that's how you market yourself, and you'll get requests. Hey, you did this. Can you do that similar? They can consult you for similar activities in their company, and they may hire you for a short period of time. This increases your popularity, and you feel more confident. You get to do more project, and you increase your skill. So if you're proud of something, share it, advertise it, and market it. Don't expect anybody to market you instead of you. Okay, you are the one who needs to market you. So that's a video by Don Macmillan, and I will just not do it now, but I'm gonna show you a 30-second, and then you can watch it. I'm gonna put the link down below in the description, so you can watch it there. Let's just watch a 30-second clip.
PowerPoint, and I figure it's kind of my duty to point them out. So here we go. Here's common PowerPoint mistakes. Number one, people tend to put every word they are going to say on their PowerPoint slides. Although this eliminates the need to memorize your talk, ultimately this makes your slides crowded, wordy, and boring. You will lose your audience's attention before you even reach the bottom of your first slide. Please don't do that anymore, please. Number two, most common, many people do not run spell check. Big mistake. Nothing makes you...
As I said, I'm gonna put the link down below, and you can watch it later, because they deserve to be watched from their channel. Okay, I don't want to violate their copyright. So, but Don Macmillan has a few more videos and clips in his channel, so it's really funny, and they point out really well issues about using PowerPoint, and so I recommend you to watch those ones. All right, so let's talk about what's the authority. Okay, if you're presenting, what's the authority with the audience? Let's say, are you their teacher? Are you their professor? Are you their boss? Or are they your boss, right? What's your authority level with them? That really kind of sets the stage of your level of presentation and your confidence. Give them time to read or watch material during the speech. So let's say you put out a table with a lot of numbers, or some text that you really want them to read, or an activity instructions, right? You give them like 1-2 minutes to read them a little bit, because next 20 minutes they're gonna do the activity, right? So make sure you read them. So give them a few minutes to watch it and read it. Okay, So don't just pass, because we tend to do that because we know the activity, what we know what is needed, but they don't know. That's their first time seeing it. So give them some time to read what you have. Presenting how to use your software, hardware, and technology. I don't know how much more I can emphasize on that. You gotta rehearse your software, hardware, and technology, LCD screens, mics, cams, and you gotta rehearse in the room that you're gonna present. Okay? Don't remember. There are things that you need to do pre-presentation and post-presentation. That's one of the things that you need to pre. And also there are three, if you will, legs of the chair. So you want to say audience, content, and physics. So this is really software, hardware, technologies is basically physics. Okay, logistics, mechanics. Get the proofreading done, and that's not only looking at your slides, right? Proofreading done. Of course, let somebody see your slides, and I have some recommendations on that. But also let people listen to you. Okay, your animation, is it synchronized? And about the proofreading, I recommend you two things. First, consult an expert, have them available to listen to your presentation and give content recommendation, content advice rather than presentation styles. If they have any input to presentation styles, that's also great, right? But also have some non-expert people listen to you without concentrating in the content and equations and tables and numbers, but only focusing on your presentation. If you are swinging a lot, if you're using your props well, if it's synchronized, if your font is and background is good, and all these things. Okay, so ask two people, experts and non-expert. Expert for content review, content input, content feedback. Non-expert more to presentation style. Say what you will tell it, and say what you told. Okay, that's about the structure. Use your mic. How many times I see presenters not using the mic? Well, there is mic, but they just don't use it. This is especially important if you have some cyber components, which means if somebody's MS Office, MS Teams, or Zoom, if you have some kind of online presence, then you actually have to use mic, because your voice will not be heard by the people on the other side of the cables. Okay, connecting and syncing with your presentation, they will not hear you. Okay, do not hide behind the desk. Do not walk around the venue too much, the conference room too much, but also don't hide behind the desk. That shows lack of confidence. You don't know your topic, you just want your presentation to be ending, and you want to hide behind the desk. You don't want to get any questions, right? You don't want anybody to see you. So do not hide behind the desk. Some of you may think this is just a joke, but it's not a joke. 60% of presenters I see, they usually hide it behind the desk, behind the computer, or they are just locked in one spot in the conference room. Do not read off slides, paper, or notes. Sometimes we make notes for our hand, right? A small notes, not to read from slides, but we just read off from these notes. That's also not good. Okay, you should have a good balance of where to read slides and where to not. Explain plots, figures, photos, pictures, because sometimes we put tables with a lot of numbers, but we don't explain, right? We just want audience to be aware of what's going on. That's really difficult. So if you put a plot, if there's some section that you want audience to be focused and understand really, then just emphasize that section. Okay, so don't expect everybody to understand it in 10 seconds, because you worked on that weeks and months. They only have 1 minute, and they only saw it 1 minute ago, so don't expect them to know everything and understand everything in 1 minute. Well, if you don't expect them to understand it, don't put it. Just put it and just focus on where you want them to be aware of. One important things: check to see if the one in the back row read your slides and hear you. Okay, sometimes we have really big conference room, they don't see your slides. Well, if you have a lot of words and sentences, then and if they can't read, if you have more than 7 lines and 7 words, which I recommended in the previous video, then you will just lose them. They're just gonna open up their computers and do the emails, okay? Because they are working as well. One thing really important is getting too close to participants. Sometimes I see presenters getting too close to participants, which means, maybe very natural. Let's say they are, they don't know how to use calculator, or they are drawing a picture, or they are solving a problem, they are filling out a table, right? You want to help them, you want to mentor them, but don't just get too close, okay? Of course, you want to be giving your attention, tailored attention, individual attention, but don't get too close, okay? There may be many downsides of doing that, especially in different cultures, different situations. That might be even rude to people, okay? Just leave them in their personal space, give them a space. Technology access rules, you may have studied everything, research everything, but do you need access code to get into building, get into room, get into computer, get in the screen? Because a lot of the companies restrict some areas in their company, so make sure you have that code, or you have someone else from the company or the conference building that will enter the code for you. I will put the description section the link for this video. That's also one good example and one bad example. So presentation skills 7, case study, real world data. Not to lose the audience, you want to have some case studies, some failure stories, some success stories with some other companies. So you want them to be understanding what can happen if they don't comply some rules, or if they don't apply these techniques or something, then they will understand and get more motivated. So just talking hypothetically, very abstract, will not help the audience. Implementation example from companies, like I said, always give examples from history, some disasters, lessons learned, some opportunities that's arising. Asking appropriate questions are important, right? Especially if you are in another country, in another culture, then it's even more important. I would recommend always start with some administrative announcement in the beginning, especially if you are the organizer, if you are the lead for the day with a lot of different presentations. You want to tell them the breaks, the agenda, where's the restroom, how can they get coffee, what's gonna happen in the lunch, when is the day end, is it 4 p.m., is it 5:15, what will happen, are they gonna be visiting some other building, are they gonna come back the same room after lunch? So I would like to give special print out a slide about that, or put it somewhere on the wall, and then start with some administrative announcement. This always help and the audience feel valuable, okay? I want you to watch this link on your own. I'm gonna put the link down below in the description. Steve Jobs is a great presenter, and I really personally like what he's doing. Well, who doesn't, right? Not about the personal life and family life, but especially his company and what he's doing, what he's achieving, what has he achieved. So I want you to watch this. I think this is 7 minutes, the analysis of his presentations. Okay, what is the takeaways? Think from a systems perspective, and now you understand what is systems perspective. Get someone listen to you, okay, and then rehearse it again. Get 2 different advice from one non-expert and one expert. Know how to use your hardware, software, technology. Be positive, engaged, be confident, okay? You are the expert on the topic, so you know the topic, okay? Even though there are questions, you will be able to answer them. But one thing I want you to remember is never underestimate the work needed. Never underestimate the work needed. it's really not easy. If you can just quickly get away from it. Okay, if you want to be present, if you want to make an impact, if you want to get follow-up orders about your product, then never underestimate the work needed. It's not easy, and always get help. You can get help in your company, your friends, your family, some experts around you, your colleagues, your best friends. Okay, I hope you're enjoying basically the soft skills series of lectures. If you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. Also comment below with your experiences, what is terrific about it, what's terrible about it. So share it with us. Thank you so much, and next time we're gonna be doing email management. Thank you so much for listening to me today.